Hey guys, Will from Dublin Dance and Defense. I always teach these things in order to be able to kind of get you the idea of what you're doing. I don't ever expect you to be able to learn this stuff from just the computer. So I do always tell you, hey, come in, check it out, try. People don't have, they do these moves 100 times over, okay? You don't just come into a fight and you can finish the fight, all right? They train, okay? So you have to be able to train. You have to be able to come in, okay? That's why I do these little demos and everything like that. You can't do like a 60-second reel on the internet and learn to fight. It's just not gonna happen. You can get an idea of what it is, but it's just not gonna, correlate into training. And you can buy you a bob, you can go home, you can do this stuff, you can try to do it. But if you're teaching yourself wrong via something you saw on the internet or whatever, it's going to hurt you in the long run. All right, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you a little bit about the grabs and grapples and what to do, what not to do. Okay, I'm going to show you something. You want to be able to get in close to your opponent all the time. Everybody always says, use kicks and this for distance. That's fine in order to be able to reset yourself and get yourself back into the fight, okay? You never see the knockouts when, they're way out there, unless people just are throwing kicks and that's going to be it, and they're hoping to get one of them to connect. Yeah, you can get a knockout that way. It could happen. But what I'm teaching you is the actual real world self-defense techniques, mechanisms, things like that you're going to be able to use in a fight, because you're going to get hit in a fight. You got to get over the fact that you're not going to get hit. You're not going to, get hurt. You got to get past that. Okay, every time that I fight with, some of my former students, current students, and we do a spar or this and that, sometimes people get hit. That's the whole point. You got to be able to get into the fight. You're either in or you're all out, okay? All in, all out. All right, so here's the thing. Anytime you get up into a stance, you want to be able to, whatever is your dominant hand, that's going to be the foot that is in the back, okay? That's why they call left-hand stance, right-hand stance, southpaw, regular stance, da-da-da. But anyways, that's what you do. You always have your guide hand, okay? Guide hand is your opposite. That's going to be the one that you guide with, okay? You got your power shots, your power hits. You can still hit with a jab, okay? Jab's going to work. It's going to be able to offset and be able to get you in. But you want to use that as a guide hand. That's why if you ever see me, when I'm about to clench hit, they come up. When I'm out like here, they're out, so that I can grab, move, and turn, all right? It's just the way that the mechanics work, all right? So if I'm here, the worst thing you can do is put your hand up here. Okay, if you're using this guide hand in order to be able to set up, that's fine. But if you put it here and you rest it here and you keep it here, you basically allow them to be able to grab and get the arm. Here's the thing. You want to, with your arm techniques, you want to actually be trying to go for the wrist, okay? You can get the arm, but you want to start with the wrist. You want to get the wrist first, then control and get to the arm, okay? You never want to, if I'm here and I'm putting my hand up here, he comes over, puts a hand here, you don't really want to do that, okay? He wants to be able to come up and get the wrist, okay? He's coming back here trying to get the arm. That's simple. All I'm going to do is come around and get here to be able to pull and get his hand up in here. If he reaches up in here and he's holding me right here, all I have to do is come down with my arm, catch the wrist with my armpit, and then control it. Once I get it in here like this, I just come around here and I have a wrist lock. So I'm using my arm here, my armpit, in order to be able to hold that wrist. And then I can turn him, I can move him, and all I got to do is move my leg back and forth, and I can move him here. Okay? At that point, if I want to break the wrist, keep it there, I'm just going to come in like this. I'm going to grab the back of his head, and look at what his arm does. Okay? And all I got to do is turn it, and I can break the wrist. So you don't even have to grab that wrist, you can get it with your armpit. Now you can use every piece of functionality on your body in order to be able to do these things. All right? Yeah, people are going to say you can get a finger hold back there up underneath that wrist and pull, and you know you can use pain points. Yeah, you can use anything. But if I have a strategy before you have the strategy, I'm going to win. Okay? Every single time. If I'm doing it first, then that means that I'm going to win. Or I'm at least going to get positioned to do whatever I'm trying to accomplish. All right? If that makes sense. But like I said, it's hard to teach over the internet. It's a lot easier to teach in session because you have somebody going against you. Any martial arts studio who does a demo to show you something, and then they have you rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat on a target, your other person, your op for, your whatever you want to call them, your opponent, your opposition, whatever you want to call it. When you do that, you basically just it's just strictly wrong, okay? Because anytime that you are doing, once you get past the demo phase and you start actually doing the set and the move, you want your opponent struggling. You want them moving. You do not want them in what they call a ragdoll position, okay? See it all the time on martial arts videos. There's no retention. There's nothing where they're pulling back. They're not, you're not going to learn that way. Okay? I don't care who it is. If that's what you're giving and then you put that person into a fight, the other person is not going to just ragdoll for you. Okay? So you have to kind of put that demo and ragdoll position together. And then once you actually go into the spar, start fighting, okay? Every single time after you learn a move and your opponent has the move and they know it, that opponent should never be ragdolled, okay? When they ragdoll, they do you a disjustice. They take away from you. You want them to be able to struggle and retention and try to find a way to get around what you're doing to them, because you always want to be thinking on your feet over and over and over and over and over. Ragdoll is good for the demo portion, but once you go into the spar portion, your spar you want to be full on. You don't want to be just, kind of creating at that point, because the move is already made, all right? But once you do that, you want to be able to initiate past the demo mark, because once you're at the demo mark, you're just they're not helping you. Okay, you can do that 50 times over and over and over and over of throwing them or moving them or this or that. You want them to have some retention. You want them to be able to kind of pull back, move back, try to throw you off. Okay, that's going to help you more than just a demo ragdoll and rinse and repeat. I see that in martial arts studios all the time. They'll be working on a move for a week, and they're every day coming in and doing the same thing. And then they say, okay, now let's spar with that. Yeah, if they're rinsing and repeating and your opponent is not fighting, then yeah, it's gonna look like you're Bruce Lee. But you don't want to learn that way. You want to learn to the point where you're actually in the combat zone. Okay, you're going to get faster, stronger. You can't anticipate what the other person is going to do if they're pulling back. Okay, you want them to be able to pull back and try to gain distance in between you, and then that way you are forced to move in and get into that position. So just word to the wise, when you see this stuff on YouTube or whatever, and it's going over and over and over, and you see these people doing these, and they're in fast motion or whatever, you're not going to be able to do that in an actual spar. The demo portion, when they're doing this stuff on the internet, it's a demo portion, okay? Their other person is ragdolling, and and like I said, that's kind of a form of bullshit, because it doesn't work that way in a real street fight or a real altercation. It just doesn't do it. But I'll get guys send me messages all the time. Say, oh, we do this so that they get it and they understand it. And they look. When I was in the military, pain is a great motivator. Okay, it really is. Okay, you don't do it right, you get smoked. You do it right, you still get smoked. Okay, it is very motivational. Okay, we hate it now, but we love it because we know that's how we were taught. Okay, that's how it all moved forward. Pain sucks, but it's good. It makes you be able to, next time you put in there and you see it coming, you see it coming because you know what it feels like when it actually hits you and you know you flip over and you go 5,000 miles. So just letting you know, just getting you there. There is pain. Pain's a great motivator. You push through it and then you go from there. You really don't, but that's why with your opponent you light spark, no spark, demo mode, ragdoll mode. You tell your opponent what is going on. But when you go live fire, okay, when you're in a spar, everything's open, man. That's where you take the things that you've learned, the techniques, and you put them in against that other opponent. You try to go light, but like I said, when you're in the real deal, going light ain't gonna be. It's not gonna do you any good. No justification. Okay. All right. So main thing that I wanted to show you, I kind of got off on a tangent there. I do that. But that's why you come into class so that you can learn these things. And then if I go off time, more money. But anyways, okay, so your guide hand. You always want your guide hand to come up and control and be able to come in forcefully and be able to control for the back of the head grip. Okay, if you get the back of the head grip, that's what you want. You can be able to put your power into it, your force into it. Okay, that's what I was saying with this, is if they come over and try to get underneath your arm, you just basically use this other arm, control it, get it in there, pop it, bring it up. That's just the way that it works. Hold here to be able to keep anything getting thrown over your head so that you can come down and control that. Because what they don't realize is if they're controlling this and they're trying to hit you in the head, you've got your knees, where you can bring your knees up, come in, and then control, and then go from there. If I take this, I just flip him, turn him around this way. If he tries to go for my neck, I have my arm here already to put up underneath here to catch anything for where he's trying to get me that way. It's all situational. It changes, okay? It's very fluid in a fight. You don't know, you're going to have to feel. You're going to have to start feeling instead of just knowing, okay? All right, but if I was to punch, here's a test punch. If I go here and I put my guide arm up here, and I hit, all right? If you go here and you put it up here, and you hit. I turn over here, I hit. Turn here, hit, okay? I can close my eyes, and I know where it's gonna go, because I'm aiming for my hand. I know where this hand is, so that's where I wanna go to. So if I simply take my hand around and grab the back of the neck, I'm gonna punch every time. I'm aiming for my head. I'm not aiming for his head. I'm aiming for my hand, okay? My hand is back there. I know where it's going every single time, okay? I go here every single time. I know where he is. I want to go to my hand. So that is why this is a guide hand. I know where it's at. Even if I can't see, if I get hit in the face, I got blood coming down, I can't see, I know where my hand is, okay? That's why that guide hand is very, very, very important. You know where it is, all right? And like I said, even if I'm here, if I put my guide hand up here, and he comes across top in order to be able to get this, all I have to do is move my hand here, catch here, move up. I have his wrist in a wrist lock here underneath my armpit, okay? Yeah, it's kind of gooey and nasty, but it doesn't matter in the fight, okay? But I control that in order to be able to hit here. I hit here, I hit there. I come back around, I can go to the back and control. I can flip him, I can do all sorts of things from there. But it's all situational, okay? And like I said, until you actually come in for a lesson in order to be able to see how this stuff actually works, there's stuff on the internet. All it's going to do is give you a guideline. That's it. You got to come into class in order to be able to learn these things. And if you're freaky about being in a classroom environment, you know, sign up for a private lesson. You know, I'll teach you one-on-one. Okay. You know, I saw a deal the other day with I think it was Tristan Tate talking about it, and he was like, you can train all these women all you want to self-defense, but if they're fighting against a trained fighter, they're never going to win. Okay? 100-pound against a 200-pound dude, never going to win. Look, you do self-defense in order to be able to get training. That means you're going to be trained. They're not going to be trained. Okay? If you go up against a fighter who is trained, that's where you really know if you actually have skills or not. Everybody got to start somewhere. I say train all women in self-defense because some people are going to get it, some people are going to move further into it, but it's all a journey. If that person doesn't start changing the way that they do things, self-defense doesn't do them any good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they may be able to hit here, punch here, do that in order to get away. But if you're training to fight, like get down and dirty, yeah. Once you get to that point where you're now training as a fighter, you're no longer considered, like even in self-defense, if you've had any training in self-defense whatsoever, the law looks at you different than what they did beforehand because you're training to fight. You know, you're using violence in order to be able to get to a certain situation, okay? My business partner, he was telling me the other day, I use violence as like a regular word, and I do. Sometimes you have to be violent. Sometimes you have to take violence to that next level. That's the reason why we call VOA violence of action. You know, that's where it got its name from. That's the training martial art that I teach is based on my own rendition called VOA. It's violent, okay? You have to use violence. We no longer live in a world where you're not violent. You have to use it. It's a tool, and that tool has to be used. So if you don't use that tool in a violent situation, you're probably not going to make it through that situation. I can't say it any easier. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. But once you start training, it does become easy. You know, but you have to be able to control yourself to control them to come out with the outcome that you want. Okay? If you can't do that, no, you're not going to be a good selection for self-defense. Okay? You have to. That's a mindset that you got to get into in your head and get past it, and stop being afraid of getting hit. Stop being afraid of somebody trying to tap you out. Stop being afraid of initiating that battle. Okay? Once you've been in that battle, it's like, you know, a normal everyday work week, you know? And yeah, you desensitize a little bit towards, you know, the violence that you're actually putting, but you're using it in a good way. You're still the good guy with the good gun, you know what I mean? You're not immediately just a murderous, crazy person, okay, because you want to defend yourself. Anybody that looks at it like that, they've never been in a fight in their life. Guarantee you. If they see that, no. So, all right, I've been talking long enough. I got to get ready for our dance class for James. So, I'll let you guys go with that, and we'll edit this and see if it just looks like I'm rambling. All right, guys, come into class. Suck it up. You know, it's hot out there. Just come to class. All right? You'll thank yourself afterwards every time. I mean, I don't have students that just give up on this. When they do, they give up on themselves. So they're not giving up. They're keeping on doing what they're doing. They're learning, they're training, and they go from there. All right, keep it real, guys. Later.